Alright, good morning. This is Mr. Hanley. I'd like to show you how to set up the JDK for Java and NetBeans 12. I'm going to search under Google JDK download, and you can see we have the Java development kit from Oracle. Probably have to create an account to do this, so you're going to have to verify an email. Wouldn't give them your main email. I would just go ahead and give them a one of the emails you use when you get a lot of junk mail. We're going to get the Windows 64 installer. The JDK is necessary in order to develop Java software on your computer. You don't need it to run Java software, but you will need it if you're going to write your own programs. We're going to go ahead and run that. I'm under a Windows 64-bit system, as most people are. There's a Macintosh version as well out there. Let's say yes to that. And I just noticed that NetBeans 12 is out on the Oracle website, so we'll be going and downloading the I'm going to take the default directory, C program files, Java JDK 1401. The JDK is constantly being updated with new commands, new features, new supports, so it's probably a good idea to get the latest JDK when you have the chance. Okay, so this is our first step. And again, you didn't see me create an account, but typically they would ask you to log into Oracle, and they want a phone number and stuff. Just give them kind of a random phone number. There is no, there's no requirement that they verify that type of stuff. All right, so we've gone through the setup, and I can close this out. There's some documentation, and we're going to come over to NetBeans, and if you search NetBeans download, I would type into my browser. It's probably not the best thing to do. I would say type in NetBeans Apache download, because there's still an older version of NetBeans that's out there. So the word Apache will make sure you're on the latest organization that's supporting NetBeans. You can see that NetBeans 12 is out. I don't know what LTS stands for. It's probably long-term support. I think that's kind of like an official version that they're going to support. And we're going to come down and we're going to find the installer for Windows 64. Don't click the SHA512. Just hit right there and get that installer, unless you're running Linux or something else. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and save that. I have a temp folder on my desktop I save everything to. And that's so I can easily delete all that stuff. Some people just use the downloads folder. That's fine too. And we're going to try to use at Shenendehowa during the fall 2020 school year, and that way we're kind of in sync with what people download on the internet, and we don't have 2 or 3 different versions that we're using at home and at school. It's a little easier that way. Okay, so Windows Defender is up here. Trying to make sure that I'm not downloading a virus. I'm kind of glad that that's there. I'm going to say run anyway, because this is from the Oracle, the Apache website, which is Independent Software Foundation. That's been working, taking over NetBeans, and they've been supporting NetBeans and augmenting it and bug fixing and all that kind of good stuff. Don't think there's going to be a lot of big changes from NetBeans 11, honestly. It'll probably look pretty much exactly the same. It's going to install the base IDE, Java SE, Java EE, HTML, JavaScript, and PHP support, and I think we're just going to take all of that stuff. I'm going to go with the default, which is C program files NetBeans 12. The JDK, you can see he picked up the JDK 14's there, so that's a good sign. I'm going to leave check for updates on just because it's nice to pick up a patch here and there. And when this is all said and done, we ought to be able to go in and run 12, and I'll probably be clearing out my older versions, my 11, just to save some disk space. And again, if you're a Mac person, similar search will get you into the Macintosh version of this. So it's kind of nice that it's pretty much runs the same way on the Mac OS as it does on the Windows environment. NetBeans began in 2000 or 1995. I'm sorry, as a student project in the Czech Republic, which is kind of interesting. And they were looking to build some Java tools, and here we are 25 years later, and it's still being augmented, it's still being supported, it's still alive. So that's pretty good student project, if you ask me. And we've been using it at Shenandoah ever since Curtis Moran told me about it. Oh, I think that was back about 15, 12 years ago. So we've been using it quite a while. All right, so we hit finish. Under our start menu, I'm kind of hoping I'm going to find NetBeans 12. Okay, there's 11. I don't really want 11. Kind of seeing a 12, but it's not really the 12 I want. So I think at this point in time, probably best bet for me would be to maybe go over to the file like that, and maybe go right to the C drive so I can kind of set up my own shortcut. I'm going to go under Program Files, which is where he said he was going to install it. I'm going to see the NetBeans 12. I'm going to see the NetBeans folder, and under Bin, which is the binaries, that's the one I really want, the NetBeans 64. So this is the one I'm going to launch, and I'll pin to the desktop. And before I do it, bye-bye 11. Sorry, buddy. You served me well, but it's time for a new sheriff in town, so to speak. Settings created by a previous version were found in your system. I do want to import. I mean, I like having all the latest settings from my previous version. So you can, if you haven't installed it yet, obviously you're not going to get that warning. Okay. All right, so I'm thrown into NetBeans 12. I may get some sort of splash screen or whatever. I even have my old project from 11 that's there. Welcome to the plugin installer. Okay, the NB Java compiler editing support library. You're going to absolutely have to have that. Java FX, I don't think is being used very much, so that isn't that important, but I'm going to go ahead and just let him put it in there. But the Java C is the Java compiler, so if you don't have that enabled, don't think you're going to be making projects very easily. Looks a lot like NetBeans 11. And just make a quick Java app. Oh, I can't make a Java application. Okay. 2 plugins were found in a previous installation. Do you want to import selected plugins? I'm going to say no, just so you guys can kind of see how this is done. This is typically what happens on the first day over at Shenandoah when we make a new project. And we pretty much have to enable this stuff. So we'll go to just a temporary desktop. And I'm running out of time. I have 30 seconds. But that might be enough. Finish. Okay, I got 26 seconds because I have a 10-minute limit on this video. And hopefully it's going to ask me to enable me to. It should ask you to enable some plugins at this point in time. But bye, guys. I hope you enjoy the program.